we have major wars going on.
Right.
Biden, he's 81. He's kind of old. I mean, to be fair, Trump is also old. He's 77. So, at this point, I do think that Haley supporters are going to have to ask themselves, are they going to bite the bullet and vote for Trump in November? And there's some suggestion they won't. A primary that was helping independents and Democrats vote for Haley just pivoted to Haley supporters for Biden campaign. So it seems like they're not going out without a fight.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by national political correspondent Mabinty Quarshie. Mabinty, no more Nikki Haley. Her campaign for the Republican nomination is over. What's next?
Well, for Haley, we don't know, because during her dropout speech, she did not endorse Trump. She congratulated him and then pressured him to reach out to her supporters. So we'll see how long it takes for a Nikki Haley endorsement to come, if it comes. But I suspect that Nikki Haley is ambitious, and she understands that if she wants a future in the GOP, it will have to come through Trump. So we'll just see when it happens between now and November.
It sort of was an interesting dynamic in that once Haley became the last person standing against Trump, she made her campaign about representing the voters who are consistently voting against Trump, whether that was a majority in certain places or not. So she was, she at one point put it as fighting for the 40% of the primary electorate. Now that's sort of the position she's taking even after she's dropped out, trying to get Trump to talk to those voters.
Yeah, I want to say she said 40%, but it was when you go back and look at the numbers, it's closer to 30%. So that's just 1/3 of the GOP.
Right.
It just wasn't enough to save her campaign. It's still not enough to make a dent in Trump's campaign right now, although there is some discrepancy about whether it might cost him the general election against Biden. But again, he has 8 months to reach out to those voters. He has 8 months to convince them to come his way, and a lot can happen between now and November, especially, we have major wars going on.
Right.
Biden, he's 81, he's kind of old. I mean, to be fair, Trump is also old, he's 77. So, at this point, I do think that Haley supporters are gonna have to ask themselves, are they gonna bite the bullet and vote for Trump in November? And there's some suggestion they won't. A primary that was helping independents and Democrats vote for Haley just pivoted to Haley supporters for Biden campaign. So it seems like they're not going out without a fight.
You mentioned Trump and Biden's ages. That was a big part of the pitch that Haley made, was that there was a need for generational change in political leadership. But it doesn't seem that the primary voters bought that.
So there's this interesting discrepancy going on with polls in that a lot of voters say both Biden and Trump are too old, but then continue to vote for them during the primaries.
Right.
So I think, one, they understand that they don't want Trump or Biden, but they haven't seen anyone who they think are better or could actually defeat, the opponent. So I don't want to say we're stuck with them, because voters did willingly choose both Trump and Biden.
And they've certainly heard of them by now.
Yes. So, I mean, even though voters are tired of both of them in some ways, they're not tired enough to abandon them.
So what happens now with Trump, now that the Republican primary process, it's not really over because he's still a little bit below the threshold to clinch the nomination. He should clinch it sometime this month, but the competitive portion of this, where there are other known name candidates running against him, is over.
Yeah, so for now, Trump is going to consolidate his control over the RNC. He's had those 3 leaders that he wants to get installed. The RNC is having their winter meeting I think in like a day or two. So, we'll get a new RNC chairman. And then Trump will pivot to fighting against Biden, and he'll have to deal with his upcoming trials. I know a few of them have been delayed, but at some point he's going to have to address those trials and fight off getting convicted. Because if he gets convicted, that's pretty unprecedented, and we just don't know how much that could turn away voters from him.
Right, and some of the exit polls in the primaries did show that some people would be affected by that.
Yeah.
Or they say that now, at least.
Yeah, there was an NPR poll from last month where 1 in 10 Republicans said they wouldn't vote for Trump if he got convicted.
Unprecedented or unprecedented?
You're so good at this.
Thank you, Mabinty.
Thank you, Jim.
You can read Mabinty and the rest of our political team's coverage at WashingtonExaminer.com.